My name is Emily Tilson, and I am in Class 8. Today I want to talk to you about my trip to Africa over winter break. So raise your hand if you've ever been to Africa. Now raise your hand if you've ever been to Kenya. So can anyone roughly tell me where Kenya is on this map? Sarah? Yeah, it's right there. As some of you know, my family lives in Nairobi, which is the capital of Kenya, so we tend to go to Africa every other year. Usually when we visit Africa, I spend time with my family, go swimming, horseback riding, and spend time at the beach. We also go to this little island just off the coast of Kenya called Lamu. In Lamu, you can swim, water ski, and wakeboard. You can also visit Lamu town, where there are lots of shops and businesses. Another amazing thing I've done in Africa is go on safari. Even though this year was the first year we had done it since I was about 7 years old, it was an incredible experience. We saw zebras, elephants, hippos, Thompson gazelles, lions, a leopard, and much more. There are so many amazing places to visit in Africa, but there are also some places that are very dangerous that most people stay away from. This year, my family decided to go to a place no one would ever think of visiting. We visited a slum, which is an overcrowded area inhabited by very poor people. The slum we visited is called Kibera, and it is not only the largest slum in Kenya, but one of the largest in the world. It is about the size of Central Park, yet estimates of its population range up to 1 million people. Could you imagine 1 million people living in Central Park? 1 out of every 5 children don't even make it to their 5th birthdays, and the life expectancy is only 30 years versus an average of 54 years in all of Kenya. Does anyone know what the life expectancy is in the US? Exactly, yeah, 78. So remember that the life expectancy of Kibera is less than half that of the United States. Because Kenya is such a poor country, it is hard for men and women to find jobs, meaning children will not be able to attend school because their parents cannot afford it. When we first drove into the slum, there was a man giving a political speech to a large crowd of people because there was an election coming up. It took place on March 4th, when Kenyans peacefully elected a new president. After we got out of our cars, we walked about a half-mile deep into the middle of Kibera. As you can see from these pictures, the streets are in terrible condition. They are muddy, gross, and dangerous to walk on for the people who don't own shoes because of all the litter on the ground. On these streets, there are lots of little shops and businesses where people are selling charcoal, fish, fruits and vegetables, and more. Unfortunately, many shops and bars are also selling beer and other alcohol. Here's a sign outside of one. Alcoholism is a terrible problem in Kibera and the rest of Kenya, especially among men. One problem Kibera is going through is that clean water is very scarce and expensive in Kibera, so they raised money to build a water pipe and a storage tank where people can come and get clean water for a small fee. Here on the left is a water pump, and on the right you can see the water tower in the back, but also the line of buckets holding people's spots in line just to get some water. There are so many people living in Kibera that the line can take almost an hour to get to the front of, depending on how far back you are. Having clean water in Kibera is extremely necessary because without it, diseases are spread and lots of people are dying. 2 people named Kennedy Odede and Jessica Posner changed all of this. While in Kibera, we visited a nonprofit organization called Shining Hope for Communities, which was founded by Kennedy to help the people of Kibera. Kennedy, who actually grew up in the slum as the oldest of 8 children and assumed the responsibility for his family at the age of 10. When Kennedy was just 7 years old, he started selling peanuts on the road to try and keep his siblings and himself in school. Even though he didn't have much of an education, he was extremely bright and taught himself how to read. Jessica, who grew up in the United States in Denver, Colorado, met Kennedy during a semester abroad in Kenya during her junior year of college at Wesleyan University. When Jessica talks about the times when she and Kennedy had first met, all she remembers hearing about was his dream to go to college and to get an education. So Jessica emailed him lots of links to applications, and he ended up attending Wesleyan University and starting his freshman year at the age of 23. With no money and only a soccer ball and the faith he had in people's ability to change their own lives, Kennedy built one of the largest community-run organizations in Kibera. The main thing that this organization did was create the Kibera School for Girls, which is the first tuition-free school for girls in Kibera. Kennedy and Jessica founded it in 2009, and it currently has 100 girls enrolled in pre-K through 3rd grade. Every year it grows by 1 grade, and they intend to have it go through at least 8th grade. Having this school not only affects the girls now, but as they get older, it will give them an opportunity to get into college and move out of the slum and improve their lives and the lives of their family. Nick Kristoff, a New York Times columnist, helped the Shining Hope for Communities become what it is today. When Nick found out about Shining Hope, he wrote a column in the newspaper, and after people saw the troubles the families in the slum were going through, they started donating money. As more and more money came in, the Kibera School for Girls and the community centers, such as the computer lab in the library, started to slowly become more successful. With this money, they were able to purchase more computers, make the library greater by buying more books, and they could also expand the school. Shining Hope seized upon the opportunity to expand because the bigger the school, the more children they could hold within it, meaning that even more girls could get an education. So we have thousands of books in our library, and look at theirs. They probably only have about 150 books, and their computer labs have about 20 computers, whereas we have multiple labs and loads of computers, plus lots of students and teachers are given iPads. When you're young and going to school, there tends to be a playtime where you go to the roof and play on the playground. So think of Nightingale's roof and compare it to this one. The only things they have to create a play space are wood and tires because they can't afford anything else. But even just these little things make the children so much happier because it's greater than anything else they've ever seen. Shining Hope for Communities has done so much for the children of Kibera, and to see the look on the girls' faces at school is so amazing because sometimes we don't realize how lucky we are to get such an excellent education. If you would like to learn more about Shining Hope for Communities, please visit shininghopeforcommunities.org or approach me in the hallway. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Dismissed.
Great job.